Welcome back to Tape Reading Concepts YouTube channel. This is Nikolai. Today is the 26th of November and this video will be a quick recap of my trading session in crude oil. While we were enjoying festivities for Thanksgiving last night, the world was worried about the new variant of COVID. Overnight, after a rather boring Thursday session with a consensus close just around 78.50 in crude, the market sold off steeply in the far eastern portion of the session, experienced the first of its three vertical collapses here just before the start of the European session. There was another one around 3:30 or close to an hour later, and then around 4:30 the third vertical collapse. I'm coming to the table here around 7 a.m. I'm looking at a very extended market. The range is already north of 500 ticks or $5,000 per contract, with a couple minor structural resistances established following just short of $1,000 pullbacks. The latest one here was slightly larger, yet it appeared that as the sellers are stepping in, there's a significant amount of profit taking as a lot of demand was found here for prices just above $73 per contract. Price did rally indeed here in the beginning of the US pre-market session, broke the high, and at this point it's almost certain that we're going to rendezvous here with the previous area of resistance. If you analyze the behavior above $74 per contract, you will see that there's a very crisp sequence. You can see here how the selling interest forms a frequency as the offer moves through lower and lower prices on the margin. Same story here when we get the retest. We can see on the bars very tangible pressure by the offer as the sellers are stacking lower and lower their orders to absorb everything that's offered at these prices close to $70 per contract. When we return to the same levels here, notice the same story emerges. There's that cluster of price, same thing that we had here. We had one a little bit lower. There's, by the way, the same frequency forming here, similar slope, and then you can see as we emerge towards 74, it seems that we get another cluster just short of the reference point with good frequency on the right side. Unfortunately, price got away from me a little too fast here just before 8 o'clock, which is prime time to get positioned. Then the swap area here held, as it appeared some of the shorts that likely got caught at lower prices were looking to close their positions close to their break-even mark. Price started to climb back towards the horizontal. I did consider positioning myself slightly lower here. You can see the same cluster, the same off pressure by the offer by the sellers. However, my stop or realistic entry would have been just about $500 or $5 in order to accommodate a little bit of noise above the structural level. I'm not willing to step in with such a large stop, even though the market could have clearly pivoted here and left. You see that there was a similar high here with a lower shoulder to the right, so definitely taking a gamble to potentially miss the next wave of this progression to the downside. Naturally, we're not looking to buy this market. It is a very weak market. The question is, where exactly are we looking to sell? And right in front of confirmed resistance is my working hypothesis. I'm looking also to define the entire counter-directional move here as a broadening or as a BC, with my A pivot or the beginning of my projection somewhere here to the left. I chose to use one of these two pivot highs. Then my B point is down here at this well isolated extreme or the current low of the session, fishing for a C or another high somewhere here to the right. You can see that initially the C was right around here, so yeah, indeed the market could have pivoted here very close to the sloped reference point and continue to the downside to the next line. This is a median line set, standard edition, if you will. I did, however, notice that there's a certain amount of demand here for higher prices, and since I was looking to position closer to the area, I decided that this is not going to be my C and I'm going to look for a better reference point. Notice that the buyers who were pressing here were potentially moving their orders higher and higher. So the question was really what's going to happen as we get close to reference point here horizontally, and indeed as we drive 1 times, 2 times, here's the third one. Notice a very sharp turn, very similar to the one that we had before. So it seems like these sellers are definitely going to defend that level. They have been here since the beginning of the European session around 3 a.m. Then they were again here around 4 a.m. They're here again around 8 a.m. and now just before 9 o'clock they are still here. So it's been close to 6 hours of selling, and it seems that $74 per barrel is about solid. So after the latest reaction, this is my chosen C pivot. Notice that this resistance here, this double top, is just about $1,000 sorry, not $1,000 but $100 or 10 ticks short of the actual resistance. So great place to sell. The stop will be much smaller, probably $300 to $400 per contract at the most. There was another one of these clusters, no slope here. Indeed, the buyers were causing a bit of a fist fight here. You can see how the market is getting compressed here, exactly towards the round number. I believe I got positioned here just above 40.74 per contract. Where's my, yeah, you can see this position was closed around 9:23. I post my work in real time here in our mentoring community. Yes, I got the entry here just before the market pivoted, and of course the first problem area for this situation would be the last place where we sold the buyers here, right above or right around $73 per contract. Initially the descent was very steep, no heat was taken in this position, and indeed you see some profit taking as we approach the level. However, it seemed that the sellers are in control. Just here around 9:20 you can see that we're seeing a lot of tiny bars or high activity bars on a tick chart. That was disconcerting, potentially too much buying pressure. So I decided to close the opportunity with just about 100 ticks or $1,000 per contract. This was very convenient because it was just before 9:30, which is my preferred time to move my attention towards the S&P 500's futures. Later within the session, closer to the lunch hour, when I was already done with some trading on the index, I came back around to see that this market has collapsed significantly lower. Obviously some buyer's remorse here, as I took a very small chunk for just about 20 minutes, while within the next hour and a half this market collapsed a few dollars per barrel. So I could have gone for a further reference point. I decided to see if there will be some opportunity here later within the session. There was a peculiar double bottom right around 11 o'clock. You can see here the double bottom, the sharp reaction. There was some profit taking here, but we promptly found the sellers here at the vicinity of 69.60, 69.70, and then notice the clear parabolic bend to price action as we're poking to the downside. Definitely looked interesting, so I decided to pick up a short opportunity for another leg to the downside, shooting to see price action step another level lower. You can see here if we add up another parallel line, this is the next level that price should reach if the volatility projects there, and of course that did. This was my second opportunity in crude oil right after the end of my trading session on the index. Yeah, a little bit late on the entry here, but definitely that parabolic idea. This is obviously a very weak market that is looking for a low, and in the lack of any significant demand for prices, you can see that none of the highs are getting broken. It's likely we're going to extend to the next level. Indeed, you can see that 100+ tick moves, which are north of $1,000 per contract, really seem like minor moves here, like scalping, but the logical moves nevertheless. I was happy to exit here with an order waiting on the first chance of tapping this 67.50 level. Notice that the reaction of price was significant as profit taking from all kinds of short positions happened right here. A little bit later here within the session, when I was already done with all other types of trading, actually just after this exit, I noticed that not only we got a sharp reaction, but we actually held a higher low at about a 50% pullback, and we promptly saw a higher high, which encouraged me that we're likely below the lowest point of this market and we're going to see some type of significant profit taking. This is often the case behind these parabolic curves. Therefore, I decided to jump on the bandwagon exactly where price is and see how much of that move I can capture. It appeared that even after a $400 pullback, the market immediately recovered and kept making new highs. So I was confident this is going to go higher. I should have gone 343 and take my third attempt here for another 100 ticks, which is $1,000 per contract. This was offered right here. You can see the entry was 68.40 and change, and the market did print here 69.50. So indeed, $1,000 per contract were offered. However, the buying seemed very steady, and I decided to see how far higher are these buyers going to take it. Indeed, all my profits disappeared here within the next, well, pretty much within the lunch hour. You see that we revisited the entry level here. I was working marginal risk, I believe just about $150, maybe $200 or two of these boxes. Indeed, price stabilized here to what was a 50% pullback between the low and the high, and there was another sequence of higher lows and higher highs which followed in the early afternoon session. Unfortunately, we couldn't break the high, and as soon as we came back for this level, I evacuated the premise. A steep collapse here and price immediately stabilized, so I decided to go for a consolation price on a last attempt for a move higher. I was really shooting for just a 50% pullback, because notice that all the sharp turns were offering these 50% pullbacks. This sharp turn, 50% pullback. This entire wave came back around to its middle. And so I assume that even this sharp turn to the downside after price ran out of steam will snap back just a couple ticks short of my target, and then as it slammed back to the downside, I took another 10 ticks for a total of 220 ticks on the session. 4 trades, the first 2 were winners. Should have gone for 3 out of 3, but instead I got a bit greedy, did own up here in front of the team. You can see I got a bit greedy, kind of pane of glass, and left the profits on the table, but such is life with trading. 2 winners, 2 scratches, still a great trading session within Crude. When the market is that volatile, I usually try to consolidate my focus on 1 or 2 markets at the most. Since I'm the only one here in our group trading today, most of the team are enjoying the festivities, but I've been trading all week here. You can see my positions from Wednesday before. Let me know if you have any questions, and of course in the comment section below if you like these recaps of the price action. Stay reading concepts. My name is Nikolai. I'll catch you in the next video.